Well, welcome to a slapdash reaction of the Charisma Crusher. Um, those of you who have watched this channel before are quite familiar with this incel ignoramus, and I can't help but call somebody on their nonsense when they're being nonsensical. And it's one thing if I'm over on Rudy's channel and talking about relationship advice and men and women and sex appeal and all that nonsense. But when you start talking about films and all that stuff ignorantly, that's where I for those of you who don't know, I am CP, otherwise known as Charles. Welcome to WILIscredia. You'll have to forgive the everything. For the next couple of weeks, everything is going to be either slapdash or off camera. Emily, all of our stuff is on its way to Emily, who is in a new place over in England, innit? So that happened over the course of the weekend. And yeah, so I have to go without for a little bit, although I am going out there shortly to visit her. And we'll hopefully not get detained again. I mean, I have 3 little pieces of paper from the United Kingdom Border Force saying that, sorry, no, we're not letting you in. But I've never been arrested in my life, ever. But I've been detained in three different airports in England. And I've been rejected entry, technically, once. So I already got the hat trick. I don't know. What is it? A Texas hat trick? If you get 4 goals, I don't remember what the term is, but we'll see how things turn out. JDev, Alex, cheers. Deadhead Dice. Hi. Stiff Kittens. Elva. I can't do French quite like Emily does. So if you're unfamiliar with my favorite Canadian feminist icon, this person just comments on videos and infamously just ats them like they're going to, give them the time of day, and does so without any sort of knowledge about what he's talking about. He's just going on his angry manosphere nonsense. I was first introduced to him when I was looking for a review from a fellow movie reviewer, and the commentary it's here if you want to look for it. It's men. If you look for the men review, I never did a men review. I just did an Inception reaction to Sweet and Spooky doing the men review via this ignoramus by proxy. Trevor, JDev, did I said hello. Cheers. Oh, cheers. Is that not hell? Is what hell? Where I am? I'm in purgatory. Luckily, I'm. They're gonna think. I mean, they stop me every time at both airports because of I have a metric fuck ton of medication that I'm prescribed, and controlled substances are a part of that. So that's always fun at the airport on both ends. But the fact that I'm going to have so much recording material is should be interesting. I sent cameras, lights, all of that. I'm being unnaturally lit. The TV is gone. This is where the TV would normally be, right here. I'm suffering, and due to circumstances that were out of my control, what you will have, what you're supposed to have, as far as show business is concerned, is a contribution to the fandom initiative tomorrow. You could watch through any of 3 channels, whether it be Turf Nation, Organized Chaos, or Actual Fandom, and I'll be bringing my retort to the claims that Indiana Jones 5 is a massive failure. I even tweeted Uncle Sean. Sean Chandler made a video, 9 reasons why Indiana Jones underperformed, or something to that effect. And if we were, it makes me wish that we were doing a debrief, because I had private messaged him. I'm like, you left some out if you're going to be technical. But I digest. Be glad you're not in France right now. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a toss up between France and America. All right, how many times are you going to say hello? All right, so it's clobbering time. But yeah, if you would like to see my box office report, a condensed version of Show Business Fandom Initiative tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. I could have that wrong, but if you're subscribed to any of those channels, I'll probably retweet it or something to that effect, and I will be squashing all of that with financial reports. It seems lately that, or it just seems like the arguments, they're like lily pads. You hop from one to another to whatever helps your narrative. And the big thing is Disney. If we can say something terrible about Disney, we're going to. And Disney failed, omitting the fact that Paramount ate some of that cost. And Disney, in their anticipation, projected about 145 million on the 5-day weekend. That's worldwide, not just America. And they were at 129 as of Sunday night. I'm pretty sure that Indiana Jones, which was averaging 15 million a day, no, even yeah, no, 15 million a day. You just take it from America, even if it doesn't make another dollar from yesterday and Tuesday, that's 129. It's 16 million short worldwide. But I'll explain that later. I was going to say hello, but not now. Well, then whatever. I don't know why the chat isn't. Oh, yeah. All right. So if I do stuff live, which is basically what I'm going to be doing for the next little bit unless they don't let me in England, until I head over there, it's going to be live, and it's not going to be razzle dazzle, because all the hard drives are on a boat, and our stuff is insured. While it's insured, it's at risk for some Somalian pirates to take all of our stuff, which, I mean, par for the course. This time last year, it just got straight taken by British people. So at least this time it's insured. Shout out to American Airlines for being absolute cunts. It underperformed because Generation whatever the fuck isn't associated with Indiana Jones. Yeah, I'll cock tease that a little bit. I'll let you know. It it's underperforming by reactionary moron standards. It's the 11th highest opening weekend of 2023. There's been 27. People forget that movie theaters are not pre 2020 yet. They just haven't rebounded yet. Tom Hanks will protect it. Okay. All right. Where are you? There you are. All right. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Charisma Crusher, I don't know what else to tell you, but strap in. I'm going to guess and say that this person did not see the film in question. But, you know, if I stand corrected, I stand corrected.
Who was this movie made for? Is a silly question.
Oh, pardon.
Who was this movie made for? Is a silly question.
Is it
The reason why men ask that is because men instinctively love women. And they can't come to terms with the fact that women don't like us or even hate us. So they ask this question. Now, this particular YouTuber, Film Threat, he's starting to come close to what.
It's actually a group of people. There's two people on screen. I know you don't know anything about women, but it seems you don't know anything about math either. There's two people. This particular YouTuber, Film Threat, is like a blanket. It's like a collider type deal. What the hell is wrong with you?
What's going on? They're actually starting to come clean and say this is about man bashing. Now we'll listen to what they have to say.
Come clean.
I will respond to it.
Just priceless. He'll respond to it. So
let's get into it. I saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny for a second time, and I just felt sad.
Why'd you watch it twice?
It was actually worse a second time. Sometimes movies can actually grow on you and
that's fair. I'll agree with that a little bit.
Get better on second viewing. This movie did not. So upon second viewing of this film, I just was, I started to get really angry. I just started to.
This is an appropriate response to man hatred, by the way, everyone. So thank you, Film Threat. Make sure that's your name. Yes, Film Threat.
It's Chris Gore.
Voicing that. This is the proper response.
Get angry about it. That look, and
the proper response. It's a film. He's a critic. What the fuck?
Not just because of the way that Harrison Ford is portrayed, but the way that Kathleen Kennedy seems to.
I've absolutely had it with blaming everything on Kathleen Kennedy. I've absolutely had it with that shit. The only person who's been around for 40 years worth of Lucasfilm properties is Kathleen Kennedy. So for as much as you want to shit on her now, she's even if the last 10 years are all misses, she's got 30 years of hits that you should be thankful for. So yeah, Metallica's latest album kind of sucked, but I'm not just going to rule them out. Silly.
Be interested in simply castrating all the male characters from Lucasfilm properties.
Yeah, because, Harrison Ford, of course, playing I think, so the movie opens with a de-aged Indiana Jones. So it takes place at the end of World War II. So, early 80s Harrison Ford. And it fast forward to 1969. And it's senior citizen Harrison Ford. I think the problem with the Manosphere is you've grown up watching people like Sylvester Stallone and Harrison Ford, and because of movie magic, I'm not going to count Tom Cruise because fucking guys, and I don't know, he's not human. Because of movie magic, you think that these people are indestructible, and that's the way the story goes, and Hollywood's just making it seem like these people are outmatched, and that could not be further from the truth. Time catches up with all of us. Like, the fuck? And what does it matter? Thank you. Kathleen Kennedy hate is insane. I think every Star Wars YouTuber has been bitten by that hate bug. Yeah. Everyone looking for a reason to be pissed off is set. Yeah. Yeah. And again, there's if you're going to report strictly on numbers, I can combat that as somebody who's followed numbers. If you're going to blame this on Kathleen Kennedy, you're fucking stupid. It's like blaming every Blumhouse movie on Jason Blum. She's just like the CEO.
Thank you for admitting that. See, they're getting close. Men are getting closer. He actually put it out there. She's interested in attacking the male characters.
I don't. Every character in that movie, slight spoiler, every character in the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny film, they're mildly morally gray. The female lead of that movie is a fucking swindler. So, Kathleen Kennedy isn't trying to tell you that women are better than men. She's fucking 40 years his junior, first of all. I don't care if he's been working out all of his life. The fucking guy's at late 80s. She's in her 30s. People are just more nimble, spry. They make a point when the movie opens in 1969. I mean, you have classic Indiana Jones de-age stuff for those of you who want to see computer Harrison Ford doing typical Indiana Jones stuff on a train, which, we've kind of seen before. But it opens with him being a grumpy old man because they're playing music too loud. His neighbors are playing music too loud. The Indiana Jones character in this film is more of a purist about the artifacts and knowledge and all of these incredibly rare historical pieces and how they should be kept, and the majesty behind them. He's not he's not about fucking jumping off a train and into a moving car. He's not about swinging vines with a bunch of monkeys. I guess that was okay though. Suddenly the the apologists for Crystal Skull have come out of nowhere, which is also produced by Kathleen Kennedy.
Notice he uses the word seems. It isn't seems, it's obvious. Film thread, or what your actual name is, I don't know what it is.
Chris Core.
That is obvious what's been going on.
How is it obvious? Explain. Show your work.
Okay. So it's happening so long and so continuously that these guys are having a harder time burying their heads in the sand. They're actually starting to come out with the obvious.
I like I like when people on the hard end of a social viewpoint are so far to one point they don't realize that as far as the rest of society is concerned is this Chris Gore person, the person to the left on screen, he's part of the YouTube anti woke. He's lumped in there. So another reason why the charisma crusher is just so uninformed. Most people consider this guy a anti-woke grifter, and for this clown to say he's coming around is just hysterical.
Let's go through it real quickly. We already know about Luke and Han
You know, who were in Indiana Jones.
in the Star Wars sequels. They were very openly diminished, effectively castrated as male characters.
Okay, so Harrison Ford back in the 80s, there's video footage documenting this proof. Harrison Ford wanted Han Solo to get killed off in the fucking 80s. So demasculating all of that shit, he did all the fanboys a favor by coming back. And then they, in turn, said, yeah, we'll kill you off. The fact that he even showed up for the 9th Star Wars is a bonus. But, like, if you're going to, your Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny review, you're talking about Star Wars shit? What the fuck?
If you look
Thank you for admitting that. Keep going.
Dude, does no homework. Does no fucking homework.
at Willow is kind of sidelined, another brunette female protagonist. Star Wars sequels, brunette female protagonist. Now we
Yeah, because Princess Leia, you know, that Norse blonde-haired, blue-eyed goddess that she was, that was not a thing.
The fact that they're brunette is neither here nor there.
Oh, the fact that they're female is neither here nor there either.
You know, because what's her name? Brie Larson in the Marvel universe is a blonde, so it has nothing to do with them being brunette.
See, you're almost there. The fact that it's a female has nothing to do with anything. Is the character strong? These people are supposed to be film critics. Film criticism.
we have Indiana Jones and the castration of the Lost Balls.
That's funny because it wasn't titled that. That's weird. I guess that was a working title.
And you see what Kathleen Kennedy has done. It's another male character created by, really created by Harrison Ford, Steven Spielberg, and George Lucas, effectively, collectively.
Kathleen Kennedy was there too. Look into the history.
Created the character.
Oh, by the way, screw Harrison Ford. Because he doesn't make a stink about this at all. So he gets everything he deserves.
He read the script, you fucking idiot. Again, this is somebody who didn't want to be known as Han Solo, Indiana Jones. He wanted to do other things, like fly planes and fucking break his ankle while crashing into a golf course. The guy if you've watched him on late night television doing interviews, he can't stand that he's forever linked to two roles. You're an idiot. You're an absolute fucking moron.
Of Indiana Jones. And Harrison Ford's portrayal is just amazing. If you know anything about the making of the first Raiders of the Lost Ark, a lot of it was they didn't have a lot of money to make the movie, oddly enough. And what they did was they improv'd a lot of things. Like Harrison Ford likes to improv or try things out. He did a lot of his own stunts.
Yeah, I get it. Harrison Ford did a great job. He did. And he made a great character. And Kathleen Kennedy purposely shit on it, right?
Right. Oh, the good old right. Man, I got to get that into a soundboard. So if Harrison Ford created it and then decided that he wanted it to be demasculated, that's him, isn't it? Isn't that his decision? Or, I mean, wouldn't he just say no the way Steven Spielberg did to? I mean, Steven Spielberg was signed on to direct this, and then backed out. Harrison Ford could have backed out, right?
Yeah, we got that.
It's a very physical performance, and when you see what Kathleen Kennedy has done to all of these, it's no surprise that, of course, another female brunette takes center stage. And
What the fuck? I mean, I'm with the charisma crusher on this one. What does the fucking hair color have to do with anything? Indy 1, brunette. Indy 2, blonde. Indy 3, brunette. Indy 4, brunette. Indy 5, brunette. Oh, Indy 4, the villain was Kate Blanchett, a bit of a ginger. Strawberry blonde, if you will. So what the fuck? People come in different shapes and sizes there, Chris.
and diminishes the male lead. And it's I don't think I think, and you look, you can accuse me of being sexist for thinking it, whatever. I think that you could have.
It's pretty bigoted for thinking that. I'll say that. Chris Gore used to be quite a prominent film critic, but there's a lot of money in that anti-woke grift. So, I mean, I can't fault him for going after money, but you should have no respect for yourself as far as film criticism is concerned.
Cast a different actress in the role of Helena who would have been likable. And
What difference does it make? You see, this is why these guys are not fully awake yet.
Fully what? I'm sorry. I think I missed what he just said.
Who was this movie?
Shit. I fucked up. I fucked up so hard. See, he said the W word and it in a positive light, and it just completely pushed my shit in. All right, there we are.
Made for.
Luke and it, whatever. I think that you could have cast a different actress in the role of Helena who would have been likable. And
What difference does it make?
The word above crusher, you know, the thing that sells movie tickets, likability usually has people tend to go back. Harrison Ford just has this charm to him, which is why all men want to be him and all girls want to fuck him. I mean, look into what Carrie Fisher said about Harrison Ford and their little tryst. You know, likability has a lot to do with, you know, shallow surface level storytelling. It has a lot to do with things. You know, this is the movie industry. This isn't fucking politics, you idiot.
You see, this is why these guys are not fully awake yet. So
Awake.
Kathleen Kennedy are making these movies to shit on men.
Yeah, that's all Kathleen Kennedy's doing, just making movies to shit on men. What took her so long? Why did she spend 75% of her career just making what? Movies that shit on women?
And he's acting like this again, like this is just a mistake. Whatever your name is, this is not a mistake. This is her goal.
Whatever your name is, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You clown. You're an absolute fucking donkey show.
Okay? Come to terms with it.
Come to terms
She
with it.
is just objectively unlikable. And
She's a fucking thief in the movie. Holy fuck.
they tried to make her unlikable in the way that like Han Solo's a scoundrel in the first Star Wars film. He's a scoundrel. He's only in it for the money. Then he has a change of heart. And they tried to have this similar path.
No, they didn't. I mean, you are coping again. I'm glad she's completely unlikable, because if they made her a likable character, guys like you would bury your head in the sands and say something like, "Well, it was a great character. Having the male characters castrated leaves a bad taste in my mouth, but at least it was a great movie." So I'm really glad that these feminists can't help themselves and go balls to the walls.
All right, so I'm going to guess once again that he has not seen this movie. The fact that she's a scoundrel and in debt and her boyfriend is a member of the mafia or the mob or whatever in Tangiers plays into a lot that rounds out her character in this movie. So unless you have some sort of point of reference from the film and not just shooting off anti-feminist bullshit about how Kathleen Kennedy wants to just sterilize all of all of your childhood favorite male characters, then you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
Oh, I missed a
For
right.
Helena, it doesn't work. And I would argue
It does work. There's a setup and a payoff. It's formulaic. I do have a review on Letterboxd for Indiana Jones 5. It's formulaic. It's not the worst Indiana Jones movie, but they worked with what they had, and her character is just fine. It's his goddaughter, and it's not like she's a love interest. You know, this is the one time where Indiana Jones, his female counterpart, is not a love interest. There's quite a bit to his character that would explain why he's not so gung-ho about, you know, doing the things you saw 40 years ago. Part of it being loss, and which you experience in real time. I mean, there's a part of this movie where there's loss that Indiana Jones has, and the Helena, was that her name? The female character, she just carries about her business and is all about celebrating something. And Indiana Jones is like, what the fuck are you smiling about? You know, if this were truly about making women the best, she would have empathy there and not be so constantly talking about money, which is ironic coming from the manosphere.
Argue that you could have cast someone else who could have made that role better, even like.
So your problem is that the role wasn't good. How are they going to make a good role where the woman shits on the character, male character, for being a man? How would
What is your knowledge of the film? So, Charisma Crusher, his declaration is, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he hasn't seen this film, that with zero knowledge of the film, that no matter who it is in that role, it doesn't matter. It does not matter because her role is to shit on Indiana Jones. That's it. That is all. And if it's obvious, as this clown keeps fucking saying with every nonsensical take that he has, why not just fucking kill him? Why not just kill Indiana Jones and pass the torch? I mean, like, Harrison Ford would probably be up for that. You already hate Harrison Ford to begin with. So, like, kill him off. If the diabolical plan was to have the female character in this movie be so dominant and shitting on Indiana Jones, why not just fucking have Indiana Jones killed and have her be the lead? What the fuck? I actually don't like Past Crusade, but that's possibly because I'm the one film fan out there that doesn't really like Sean Connery. No ticket.
that be better ever?
Jennifer Lawrence. If Jennifer Lawrence was in the role of Helena,
But she's blonde. Dirty blonde. Oh, dirty. Meow.
Jennifer Lawrence is just more likable. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is insanely unlikable, incredibly unlikable.
She's a fucking grifter in the movie. She did her job. You fucking pen 15.
And you know what? Again, I'm going to repeat. I'm glad she is unlikable. Because then there's no excuses. There's nothing for you guys to hide behind.
They're film critics, you fucking twonk. This isn't about fucking feminism and whatever the fuck it is you constantly rope on about. It's fiction. It's fucking fiction. Subtext.
And I will admit that the first like 20 minutes of the movie I kind of enjoyed because it felt like an AI copy of an Indiana Jones film. Like it was like, oh, they copied like the sort of like, Indiana Jones is.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the setup, pal. They set up this movie as a way that, hey, you think you're going to get what you want. Then they do the bait and switch to spit in your face. So when you went to watch this film, the reason why you hated it because you got spit in the face. And that's why it was worse in the second viewing. Because you don't like getting your face spat in, right?
What point do they do the bait and switch? What scene in particular, if you don't mind me asking? Knowledgeable one who knows everything about what the precedent being set with this movie is. Please. Knowledgeable film critic. And not just speaking from your own narrative. Please inform me. Where was the bait and switch? What part of the movie? As somebody who's seen the movie and knew that her role was just irredeemable.
He's trying to get the artifacts, but he's having to improv. He's like there are moments of levity and humor mixed with action and surprise, and he's got to kind of improv his way out of.
Dice Crusher doesn't know anything about anything when it comes to the opposite sex and fetish. I it's safe to say I don't think he's a sub dom. I don't think that's or I won't talk about sex because that would me be talking about something he doesn't know, and we all know that this guy only talks about stuff that he has a very, very acute knowledge of, and he knows this movie and how Kathleen Kennedy is basically spitting in all of our faces with this brunette. Although her hair color doesn't matter, her private parts do.
Whatever mess he's gotten himself into, first 20 minutes is kind of fun. And Mads Mikkelsen is really good as Jürgen Voller. He's just the embodiment of evil. I really liked his portrayal. And I'll say,
Mads Mikkelsen has been a fucking. You'll have to excuse me because I don't have my spine. I don't have my chair anymore, and it's hard to be something remotely close to comfortable. Mads Mikkelsen, ever since Casino Royale, has just been like 5-star. If you need a villain, he's the darker Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz is a bit of a charismatic villain, and Mads Mikkelsen is fucking typical European bad guy from Denmark too.
even the most minor roles are very well cast. Like Jürgen Voller has these two heavies, one with a southern accent, a mustache. The other guy.
This is neither here nor there.
Why? Why is it neither here nor there? It's just this movie's just about women spitting in your face. I don't want to hear about plot and storytelling.
It is Phoebe Waller-Bridge and the script that is the weakness of this.
So this hate propaganda film is all right with you. It's just that she's the weakness. You're talking like the quality of the film. Men do this all the time.
The name of the channel is Film Threat. The fucking video you're watching is a movie review. Film criticism is critiquing film, an art form. It's subjective. You fuck. Holy shit. What are you doing in this territory? You don't have any idea what you're talking about.
They're completely disrespected as an audience member just because of the way you were born, you two. And you go on about the quality of the movie.
What a terrible thing for somebody covering a movie on YouTube to do. Going on about the quality of the movie. What kind of world do we live in? It's the one redeeming quality I would give. What the hell? It's the one redeeming quality I'll give him for still holding out a little bit of his roots there, talking about the film critically.
Well, you guys really know your place.
And I just, Alan, I think you made the right choice. The chat
made the right choice. Yeah.
The chat made the choice for you that you did not see it. And I'm seeing as I go through social.
Dude, why are you smiling all the time?
Oh my God. Dude, jerk off. Like, seriously? Why do you hate everything? Why do you hate happiness? I'm dying to know how old this person is because they're clearly frustrated with a lot of things. I would guess the opposite sex is one of them. And judging by how old they are, it could explain a lot. If you're at your sexual peak, as Mother Nature unfortunately made male teenagers peak at around 17, 18, 19, which is just a sick fucking game because we're so immature. So if he's just wanting to fuck everything and has had nothing but disappointment. And if you don't speak to somebody, if you don't put that energy somewhere else, you just get worse and worse. What are you hating on somebody smiling for? Holy fuck.
Social media people that I know in the space.
Like, why aren't men pissed off? Like, this guy's angry, but still not enough.
It's a movie. It's a movie. It's not real life.
Pop culture and movies are actually choosing to not go see the film because they don't want their memory of Indiana Jones ruined. I respect that choice. It looks like it's also going to bomb at the box office. I mean, it was a packed crowd, but the AMC Burbank 16 is always packed. It's one of the biggest movie theaters in America.
Oh, by the way, you two, it doesn't matter if it bombs. Feminist films have been bombing since 2016.
False.
Since it came out with Ghostbusters 2016.
False.
Doesn't change anything, does it?
Can you list me the feminist films that have failed? But wait a minute. Anything that Kathleen Kennedy has touched apparently is feminist. And that would include the Star Wars sequel trilogy. All of those have made well north of in some cases, $2 billion. And Disney bought the rights to Star Wars for $4 billion. So they've made more than enough of their money back. It was a good investment. I wouldn't call it a bomb. They had to split some of this with Paramount, but this was part of the acquiring of Lucasfilm. I'd like to hear your list of bombs, feminist bombs since 2016. What an interesting year to choose as the point where everything went shit.
Feminists are willing to burn a business to the ground, to spit in your faces. I want you guys to think about this. You
shouldn't, though, because if you're going to burn something to the ground, your spit might actually put that fire out. I mean,
ever see my video?
In terms of profitability,
did he just fucking promote himself?
And it's become, after the closing of the ArcLight cinemas, it's become the theater that everyone goes.
Well, he hasn't had sex with a female. That's what I'll say, Philip. Wakanda Forever bombed. It was crap, to be fair. Yeah, but, woman. There's somebody who has a rather authoritative role in this movie that if somebody who had seen this movie along this little manosphere anti-woke crowd would have, again, there's no shot that this guy's seen this movie because there's somebody who has a rather, let's just say that they have a position of authority in the film, and they're not a man, and they're not white. That must have really bothered a lot of people.
You can regularly see, not just me there, Christopher Nolan goes there as well.
Oh, man. I mean, like the bookends of fame right there. Chris Gore and Christopher Nolan. If you go there, you might see one of those two. Some fucking hack and Christopher Nolan. I'm sorry, I couldn't.
A buddy of mine, Tyler, saw Chris Nolan there with his kid.
I don't care about Chris Nolan. That's not what's important to this.
Oh, okay. Just tell me what I want to hear.
But back to this, it didn't grow on me as some films do.
Really? So this hate piece of propaganda.
It's been 5 days. It's been 5 days.
This hate propaganda piece didn't grow on you?
It's been 5 days. Fucking John Carter didn't settle with people within 5 days.
Wow. Funny about that.
You know, upon second viewing, I can slightly change my mind about a film, but it just made it feel worse. I just felt sad. It's not the way I would want to see Indiana Jones go out. There are two worthwhile parts.
You know, I notice when men are shit on by other men, they don't get sad, they get angry. But when women shit on men, men get sad. They
I hope he gives examples.
really know their place.
What? Know their place? What are you talking about? But by the way, for those of you who don't know, this person who's I'm inceptioning, reacting to, they're from Canada. So all this Supreme Court shit of the last week, you know, knowing their place.
In the movie, so I am going to ruin it. The first 20 minutes feels like an Indiana Jones film, and the very end of the film, there's a brief scene with Marion that is very touching. I just seeing those two actors and Karen Allen there, it was great. It was really great, that final scene. But they really kind of set it up.
Sorry.
Perfect. What do you?
No, I'm trying to star something and it shifted.
Oh, what are you doing, person who hasn't seen the movie? Why are you highlighting fucking chat?
On me. And
It's okay, man. It's okay.
Well, what are you snapping at him for then, you fucking dink?
I appreciate that Alan's doing his job. Doing his job there. Along with Ms. P. Coffee. Behind the scenes. So yeah, bottom line, I'll just say that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and
12 minutes worth of this video. Actually, I'm reacting to 12 minutes worth of a reaction to a video. I've heard nothing about the film storytelling. The first 20 minutes is classic, and Karen Allen at the end is touching. I will say that it's long. It's formulaic. But I could explain.
Bodies everything that's wrong with modern Hollywood.
The only thing wrong with modern Hollywood, really, is that it's man-hating. It's been taken over by feminists.
That's the only thing wrong with modern Hollywood. Okay. I like his approach. So, it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, white, or black. It's just if you're a female, fucking Hollywood is just all about just man hating. That's what it's about. There's nothing to look into. I don't know why you're doing film criticism, film theory, talking about emotions, tone, cinematography. Why are you doing that? It's all about just hating men. Just ask Harvey Weinstein. Jesus.
That's the source of all these problems, right?
Right.
Is embodied in one film. Everything wrong.
I'm going to say this again, pal, because
I like how snarky he gets. Like he's actually talking to him.
I don't know your name. If they could have made a stellar hate piece against me, and I would still reject it.
You're a fucking idiot. You have no business talking about film criticism, art criticism, because that's what art is. It's supposed to challenge you.
Because that's the principle of it.
What's the principle?
I'm not a lay down like the average guy, like you guys are.
I beg to differ.
Someone makes a hate piece propaganda against me, I do not see it. Matter of fact, I protest against it.
But you seem to talk about it. So wouldn't that be feeding right into what they want by giving the film attention?
the castration and diminishing of male leads, the sort of uplifting,
Has this guy not seen Fast X?
a feminist
Top Gun?
character.
Finally, do you hear that? He's hitting the mark finally. The castration of male characters and the uplifting of a feminist character. So these guys, they're getting closer and closer to the bullseye, aren't they?
As a way to
What part of the movie that you refuse to watch are you referencing? Because I'm sure there's somebody else in the film that you'd really have a problem with. Like really. And if you consider it's 1969, I've read some disgusting things, so it's rather clear this person has not seen the film. Just fucking man hatred. That's all this movie's about. According to Crusher, if you're female, you're Satan. I'm going to completely rock his world by just existing as I do. What if Alien or the Terminator came out today? They'd be labeled feminist and woke. You got that right. Right. I would assume that, Philip.
replace the male character because she's the bestest ever and good at every.
Hope that AdSense is worth your fucking... He's 87, dude. What? Why not just cast John Wayne in movies? Just to make you happy. For fuck's sake, dude.
Everything. It's
Not to replace him, really. It's to destroy the man.
No, you didn't see the movie. You just didn't see the movie.
You're almost there. It's to destroy the male character.
No.
They don't just make feminist films where the women are all great. They need to destroy a male character. That's its actual motivation.
No, you don't know anything about words, because if you saw the movie, you would know that she's morally gray. She does some things that aren't good. There are a bunch of morally gray characters. Again, Mads Mikkelsen plays the villain of the film, and she kind of tiptoes between the two. She's the girlfriend of a mafia person in Tangiers, so you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. The moral compass of this movie is Indiana Jones. I mean, there's the scene between two men where Sean Connery and Harrison Ford, they have the Holy Grail there, and Sean Connery tells him to leave it. Just leave it. And he does. Harrison Ford is essentially Sean Connery's character from 3 in 5. I don't know what modern anti-woke movie grifter YouTube expects from fucking senior citizens that have been senior citizens for as long as most of these people have been alive. But the fuck?
Its actual goal.
It's everything wrong with modern cinema embodied in one film. Maybe an overuse of digital effects to the point where things just don't feel real. And
You see, that's neither here nor there.
Don't tell me about movie. I don't want to hear about movie.
It's not the digital effects that ruined this film.
What if the digital effects made the woman a man?
The digital effects didn't ruin the heart of this film. It didn't.
What is the heart of this film? Please, I'd like to hear your thesis.
Not spit on you, the male audience. You know that. So there's no point in you even mentioning that.
And it
Again, you ignoramus. I'd like to see you do a movie review from your knowledge of the film.
just, I felt sad watching it. It's like, this is how Indiana Jones as a character goes out.
Mhm.
We just saw Picard season 3 where they took these actors.
Look, dude, why are you so shocked? You mentioned Star Wars, how she castrated them, right? So why is it shocking to you now? Like, this is 7 years now. How much longer does it need to go?
Time marches on. Holy fuck. Sigourney Weaver was the lead and saved the day in 1979. That's 44 years ago. So, like, what? It's not 7 years, it's 44 years of feminist Hollywood. What are you talking about?
Before you guys stop being surprised, I'll tell you why these guys are surprised. Men, again, love women unconditionally.
Especially gay ones.
So they project what they feel about women onto women. They think women feel about us the same way. They don't. They're the complete opposite. That's why these films are made, pals.
Pals. These films are made because of what?
They're guys from just getting past the unnecessary clutter
Film criticism. Why? Just no need to
to
talk
the
about
points that count.
Should be taught in film school as to how not to reinvigorate a franchise. Literally, Kathleen Kennedy has taken every intellectual property, all the IP that Lucasfilm has, and she's destroyed it.
She's been there from the beginning. So she helped create it too.
Thank you for admitting it. This is a step above so far of any of these commentators I've ever seen.
It's so clear how just not in tune with film criticism this fucking moron is, because Chris Core is fucking anti-woke grifter. It's funny. I like it when you see somebody to the left of somebody who's left, or to the right of somebody who's right. The Crusher here, he's got one narrative, and he just is unfamiliar with this person because he's on this one topic. He's further slanted than Chris Core is, and it's just Chris Core is actually dropping in some film criticism and critique. And that's neither here nor there, as to quote.
And she's got a T-shirt saying the future is female. She's a feminist. She's card carrying. So that's what it is.
There's cards. They have cards. You do know that without women, nothing happens, right? Right. If women decide to just stop procreating, that's it. We're done. So it's kind of true. And she's trolling you fucking idiots.
Why do you guys keep acting surprised?
And you can't ignore it. And you can call the people making these very
I disagree. I think even you guys at this point are still ignoring it to a certain degree. You're being pulled by the gravity of this black hole of hatred.
Hatred.
One
the only hatred I'm hearing here is from
step at a time. But when you ask the question, who is this movie was made for, you're still burying your heads in the sand.
valid criticism, sexist, but it ignores the fact that these are not successful. It doesn't look, if she made these and they were huge successes box office wise, which is how people vote, You vote when you go to the box office and you put down money. You're saying whether the studio doesn't care if you dislike the movie. They've already got your money, but you're voting with your pocketbook.
Wait, men carry pocketbooks? That's not very anti-feminist. That's weird. So we're going to judge film and the work that Kathleen Kennedy has done by money, because that's how we judge. And it's quite unfortunate. I love it when somebody who's just absolutely uninformed tries to talk about money. All time. Here we go. So Kathleen Kennedy, who is an executive producer of oh wait, oh no, this film called Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens. That's the #1 movie of all time, lifetime gross, with $936,662,225 domestic. Oh, no. Kathleen Kennedy was the EP for that. That's weird. And #2 is Avengers Endgame with Brie Larson. It almost seems like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm sorry. Didn't want to go off on one.
Exactly, which is why I made a video years ago saying get woke, go broke is a joke. Because this has been going on since 7 years, for 7 years, and you said Kathleen Kennedy has done this to every property owned by Disney, right? So you know it's not about making a profit. And you also know that Disney doesn't mind getting burned to the ground either, obviously.
Why? Why?
Or at least you should come to that conclusion by now.
Why?
And when you vote and you give money to a film, what you're saying is, I want to see more. I like this. I want to see more of this, because that's the only way Hollywood will take it now. Maybe if something's big on opening weekend and it drops, that's also, you've got to read the tea leaves of the box office. And what it looks like is that people are rejecting this film.
Well, dude, why would they bother with tea leaves? Like a comedian
It's a fucking figure of speech, you idiot.
once said, I have the power to predict the past. You just said Kathleen Kennedy, you admit it, did this at every franchise. So when they come up with it,
Helmed the highest grossing film of all time. What the fuck planet are you on?
Indiana Jones, you should assume that that's the way it's going to go. Because you have hindsight. Hindsight is 2020.
Movie's still in theaters. It's been 5 days. There's this term that people in the industry, not really talking about fucking identity politics with their industry gossip. It's called legs, whether or not a film has legs. And hindsight's 2020, but foresight isn't. I'd like to hear what you have to say about what Indiana Jones is going to do next weekend. Oh, knowledgeable one who's never seen a movie ever.
You don't need tea leaves.
People are rejecting
Figure of speech.
it. And I also think that part of the reason people are saying that it's not as bad as I thought, do you know why they're saying that? Because they've been told it's bad. They've been told it's bad. So
Any man.
All right. So what Chris Gore is saying is there's a bunch of people for years. It's been years that these anti-woke fucking reactionaries have said a bunch of nonsense. And the early word, what, last week, was that it's shit. And people have watched it who have watched it for their own personal reasons, not to fucking hit the algorithm. And they're like, oh, wow, you made that seem a lot worse than it was. But it was formulaic. It's the Marvel approach to Indiana Jones, as I would call it. It's very by the numbers. Nothing really outstanding, nothing really offensively bad. It's just by the numbers. But, Hollywood's about spitting in your face. Kathleen Kennedy just not caring about anything, even though she's part of the highest grossing domestic film of all time.
Who goes to this man-hating film and says, it's not as bad as I thought, is a lowlife.
You're a lowlife. If you're going to judge what people think about a movie based on fucking feminism, you're a fucking idiot. People don't go to things to just hate on shit. What is wrong with you? Watch the movie. What gives you pleasure? All I know of this guy is just shitting on what people have to say. Like, dude, jerk off. Fucking, take your, don't pay your internet bill 1 month, or ask mom and dad for a little extra money, and go pay a female to get your penis wet. And you'd be surprised what might happen. You may feel a little bit less hatred if you just orgasmed once. Like, you're just fueled with fucking hatred. It's ridiculous. It's comical.
I have nothing but contempt for a man who says that.
I'll debate him. Yeah, Mr. Crusher, please, somebody who's so educated in the field of film and what Hollywood is all about, the invitation is open. And not reacting to one of my things, I will have you live. We could discuss what the problem with Hollywood is. And you could educate me. The invitation's wide open. Unlike any woman's legs when you speak.
Who goes to these films?
Remorse, basically.
Yeah, like since what was it? End of May is when they showed it at Cannes. So they have been told that Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny is bad for over a month. That when it's finally released, it's not that bad.
If he said that, he was lying too.
Why?
And so, like, if you've heard that, it's sort of like, oh, this is terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible, and then you go to it, it's like, oh, that was actually kind of fun. So
you would say the castration of our male hero character is fun? Okay, that person was either lying or he's a laydown.
Who's this person? He's speaking generally. And again, what castration? What are you talking about? Indiana Jones is the moral compass of this movie.
Either way, I have contempt for him.
it's
You have
fine.
contempt for everything.
It's fine, but I think part of the reaction of people is hearing it's bad so often, and then you finally see it and think to yourself, it's not that bad. I'm not saying there aren't some really good moments. The parade chase with Indiana Jones on a horse, pretty entertaining.
So if the KKK made a propaganda film against the Jews, would you be saying that, it's a hateful film, but it has these really good moments in it?
Birth of a Nation is considered, technically speaking, one of the better made films of all time. The Hitler documentary, which was directed by Riefenstahl, has kind of set the precedent for some technique in filmmaking. Again, it's not about the subject matter. Film criticism is about technique. Birth of a Nation is It's in 1001 movies you must see before you die. I'd pull it up if I had it on me. And I do own the book. Look it up. Look up Birth of a Nation. KKK. The Riefenstahl movie. What now? Again, I'm wide open to talk about this.
Is that what you would do?
Indiana Jones, in the first 20 minutes of the movie with the Germans, the deep fake. I won't say the deep fake. The deep fake was the best we've seen it.
I don't care about deep fakes. Don't care what he's talking about here.
Yeah, that's clear.
It makes me sad because Kathleen Kennedy clearly has a view of herself. She does a view of what she wants. She wants to replace all of these characters with her. And
see, this is why they keep talking about brunettes. Yes, they do. These feminists do self-insert characters. That's true. But again, Brie Larson is a blonde, right?
Yeah, she's dirty blonde. But Kathleen Kennedy is not responsible for Captain Marvel. What is your point?
These feminist films, I mean, it's only coincidence that she's choosing all brunettes, right? The core problem here is that the male.
Again, she's been in the Indiana Jones franchise from the beginning. There was a blonde in the second one. Kate Blanchett was in the fourth one.
Male character is being disrespected. Doesn't matter if it's an insert character or what color her hair is. Okay?
Man, I really wish you had seen this movie because color of skin might have a debating factor for you.
And this castration, you can look. This castration of the male characters is it's you can't unsee it.
Thank you. And since you can't unsee it, would you stop talking about the quality of the film?
People don't go to the movies to escape life. They go to the movies to hate on men. Don't you know that? Fuck. Get to the point.
That is the only thing that matters here. The only thing.
Once you see it, I want to share.
Well, that's exactly why I'm glad I'm not seeing this, because I don't want to have to unsee this movie, and it'll be
why are you
impossible to do
here?
it.
This is from my personal Twitter here. I'm going to show you this. It's from my personal Twitter. All I said was, which do you prefer? So there you go. New Hollywood or old Hollywood? I'll zoom in so you can.
If you were brave at all or aware or whatever word you want to use, you wouldn't be New Hollywood and old Hollywood. It'd be feminist Hollywood and good Hollywood.
When was good Hollywood?
See, so you guys are still burying your heads in the sand to a certain degree.
You can see it a little bit better.
When was good Hollywood?
But there we are. New Hollywood, old Hollywood. Which do you prefer?
It's time. It's that's not Harrison Ford anymore. I mean, there's movie magic in this movie. Yes, you call it deep faking, but I don't know how much money do you need from this grift?
So my personal Twitter is that Chris Gore. So there you go. I think that about sums it up. This is what they want. They want us to look at Helena, make her the hero. But the thing is, it's
no. They don't want to make her the hero. They want to make the shit on the male character, and they use her to do it. That's why what's your name, Chris? That's why another reason why the female character is so horrendous. It's done on purpose. They're not just replacing the male character with a good female character. They're taking a bottom of the barrel subhuman and saying she is going to be taking his place.
A bottom of the barrel subhuman and saying she is going to take his place. Somebody did not see this movie. You're a fucking idiot. You're an absolute moron. Why do you talk about things you have no idea of? Holy fuck.
It's not to uplift her, it's to shit on him. Okay?
Not resonating. It's not in the zeitgeist. It's not. People are
So man hating isn't resonating with you? Well, that's good to hear.
not responding to it in a positive way. They just objectively are not. So, you can criticize the critique, but ultimately,
So, again, if we're going to go about this way, the person who said that we judge with our pocketbook, interesting use of terminology, Kathleen Kennedy, who was the executive producer for The Force Awakens, which is the highest grossing domestic film of all time, ever. So, people with their pocketbook said, thank you. That movie has Harrison Ford literally get murdered in it. His character is literally murdered in that movie. And people made it the highest grossing domestic film of all time. So maybe by your own logic, Kathleen Kennedy said, oh, well, their pocketbooks seem to like us castrating and murdering off our characters. So, taking a page out of the Marvel playbook, just keep doing it.
you can't.
Actually, you can't criticize the critique.
What?
All you should do is say, this is a hateful movie and I don't support a hate movement.
What about it is hateful?
There's nothing to criticize.
Ignore it.
But that's their job. Some people get paid to judge art for technical reasons. And again, like you said, the KKK, if they made a movie, one of the better structured films that is taught in film school, not about who's in it, but the structure. There are two very, very hateful movies that are taught for film criticism. The criticism is important. It's art.
You can't ignore it.
So do you want me to get into the Kathleen Kennedy interview?
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Another person who hasn't seen the movie, please talk about something like it's relevant.
Alan, what happened? There was
Okay, so today posted Empire Podcast, Empire Magazine. They did an interview with Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall, and some interesting things came out. The interesting thing about this interview is she's very positive about this movie, but if you really dig into what she's saying, you realize that this movie was a mess. Let's just say this: the driving force behind the story and the motivation of Indy 5 was Harrison Ford. He was very enthusiastic.
Oh, the movie titled Indiana Jones was driven by Harrison Ford, who plays Indiana Jones? What a bizarre concept.
About this.
That's why I have nothing but contempt for him.
Why?
So Harrison Ford was enthusiastic about having his own iconic character that he built be shit on.
Kathleen Kennedy had a hand in building his character. You fucking ignoramus. And George Lucas? And Steven Spielberg? Steven Spielberg stepped away. But Harrison Ford, you didn't see the movie. Like, dude, what are you talking about?
Well, Harrison Ford is a real subhuman, then, isn't he?
Subhuman. I love his use of that fucking term. Dude, touch grass.
He worked with James Mangold in the past. The two of them have a great relationship. And that's how James Mangold got hired to do the job, because of his familiarity with Harrison Ford. And also James Mangold brought in the writers. So those were his writers. And so the impression you kind of got from the interview was that she was fairly hands off when it came to story and things like that.
Oh, no. But what does that do for your narrative?
But
There you go. What she's done, she's a feminist. She's networked with other feminists and getting them into. Let me see if I can't find a picture of. No, I won't bother. But I've seen photographs of her and a bunch of young women.
So
other feminist women. So she's got enough feminists in that she doesn't have to lay a finger on this to ruin it. That's what's going on here.
But the person that directed this film, James Mangold, is a man, and he brought his own writers in. So if she was hands off, it's just an unwritten rule that she destroyed it? Because, if she's in, she destroyed it. If she's out, she destroyed it. Because vagina? Can you please, show your work?
No. I will take that back. Let's see.
No.
Oh, wow. The force is female. Bunch of young women. There they are. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Kathleen Kennedy reveals executive team. All young feminist women. Right? Well,
How do you know
some
if
of
they're
them aren't young,
feminist?
but the point is, all women. Okay.
50%.
Okay, so with that kind of crew behind her, she doesn't have to touch any of this film at all.
James Mangold is a man. He made Logan, which, aside from a little girl, is just fucking Hugh Jackman's swan song with that character, and it's incredible. How does someone comment on a film without seeing it just based on an interview? It's easy. It moves the algorithm. I should really learn from this.
It's still a feminist film. Thank you.
But why? Why? Because she took a picture with her crew? What are you talking about? Just what the fuck are you talking about?
But this was basically a Harrison Ford, James Mangold production. In fact, Harrison Ford admitted at D23 that he was the one responsible for bringing Phoebe Waller-Bridge into Indy 5 here.
Okay, then he's a scumbag feminist then.
Oh, the scumbag feminist. I'm still going to blame Kathleen Kennedy, as hands-off as she was. What a scumbag. For introducing a female into the Indiana Jones legacy. We've gone 5 movies with nothing but men. And suddenly he brings this feminist, this man-hating, castrating Phoebe Waller-Bridge into this saga. And he's a scumbag for doing so. Her hair doesn't matter.
And I spit on him.
Please try.
The other interesting thing is this was a COVID shoot. And I don't know if you noticed it. But,
I didn't notice.
The movie began production before COVID.
I don't care about COVID. COVID has nothing to do with this film whatsoever.
You're an idiot. You're just an idiot. You have nothing to do with logic whatsoever.
Yep. Yeah, this guy tried to blame COVID for this feminist film. That's pathetic, whatever your name is.
What does it have to... They're not... What? He's talking about, the mise en scène. About the production. Does every single step of everything have to do with a feminist agenda? Did women come up with COVID? Oh, maybe not, because that's why he doesn't care about COVID, because he can't fucking pin that on a female, on the feminist agenda, killing all these men.
Bring up the article.
It was a podcast. So
it was a podcast. Okay, sorry. I thought I heard you said an article. Yeah. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, look, everyone on a tour like that is always gonna be positive anyways. So it's just, I feel like when I saw the movie last night, I'm like, I'm saying to myself, who is this movie for?
Thank you. So we're going to end here because Mr. Pink and Yellow, I was talking to him and he put it perfectly. That'd be like opening your door.
Canadian doesn't know the Drake meme. Mr. Pink and Yellow is Chris Gore. He put his own fucking head on a Drake meme and took 2 pictures separated by 40 years.
And finding a bag of shit on your doorstep and saying, who's this bag of dog shit for? Everyone knows I hate dog shit. This can't be for me. He hit it perfectly. And I'm here to ask you, Chris, I guess that's your name. Why are you asking such a stunned-ass question? This film, you two, was made for us. It's a dog turd made for us. And Disney is burning itself down, and it's glad to. Because it's taken over and run by a hate movement, and this is their goal, and this is what they do. Do you understand? This is their goal, and this is what they do.
7 consecutive years of
we're
profit.
the audience this film was made for. So now that I've answered that question, we can end here.
Oh, well, thank God the authority answered the question. Disney has reported profits 7 consecutive years, which would date back to 2016. That's weird. That's a weird thing to correlate there. I guess the spin on that would be, well, yeah, because they're doing the feminist agenda, and that's what people want to put their money towards is feminism. Even men want to hate themselves. Even though I want to hate men who I can't twist my mind into the stupidity that this fucking clown works himself into. With that said, it's not like oh boy. I would like to be topical for something that hopefully I'll be able to see for myself. So our good friend the Crusher doesn't only judge cinema and film criticism, but he's got something to say about the British Royals.
Okay, I'm going to further wreck this idea that there are good women out there and they're not motivated all by the same thing. This is a YouTuber, Martin Decoder. He tries to contrast Kate Middleton and William with Meghan Markle and Harry, right? But it just shows more of the same, really, when you look under the surface, and not very far under the surface, right?
I love that the only time that this guy speaks of any sort of subtext or like euphemisms, it's to get his point across. Look under the surface, you see what's really going on. The United Kingdom.
Okay. Now, let's start this.
Set up somewhere nice in Kenya and proposed. I said yes, obviously.
Of course, yes. Yeah. When did it happen? How did it happen?
I'm a big fan of his sound setup, by the way.
It happened happened a few weeks ago. So we first met. We were introduced actually by a mutual friend who we will
We should protect her privacy and
protect
not
our privacy. Yeah.
reveal too much of that.
Notice she doesn't want to admit that this was a setup. They didn't meet and fall in love. Some girlfriend of hers said, here's a high status man, right? And he's going to be perfect for you because you don't love him as a human being. He's just high status and you want to glom onto him.
The guy who fought for his country in Afghanistan and Iraq, who had no reason to. That's high status. The guy who had a open road ahead and said, "No, I don't want to be a part of the royal family anymore." That high status guy. You sure?
Now, this is an article talking about William and Kate.
I love the idea of Crusher reading a Cosmo. Anything.
Look at this. Andrews, the idea is that they met in school and fell in love, right? Andrew said he met him before she got there, while she was at school during a sixth form through some friends. They knew Harry, Prince William, and Prince Harry. So there wasn't any meeting. Yeah, it was another setup, right? Harry showed up and they ran to her friend Kate and said, we know this sucker, right? So
This sucker, Princess Diana's son, the sucker. She's an actress, you fucking idiot. High status. Does he look into anything? Like anything at all?
how is Kate any different from Meghan Markle here, right?
What?
And here's another thing. Let me show you this too.
Oh, I can't wait.
We're talking further about Kate. Although Kate wasn't especially interested in boys, she wasn't interested in guys.
Okay.
The arrival of one particular young man had caught her attention. Yeah, a high status man, right? So this woman has no desire for guys. So the only reason she got together with Williams here is because he was useful to her. She's not different, okay?
Mm-hmm. What is your point?
Now, this is all it takes for a guy who thinks a woman is on his side.
You're up somewhere nice in Kenya and proposed.
Kate takes the turn to say how romantic it was and thus supports William's narrative.
Very romantic. There's a true romantic in that.
In general, Kate's very much supportive of William's statements.
Okay, so the difference between Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle is that Middleton has her narcissism under control. She knows how to fake support to this guy. Okay? That's the difference. Meghan Markle is openly controlling. She's openly controlling, and she puts on a bad face. That's all that's going on here. We don't know how
You're planting fucking feminism and your bullshit North American views on approaches to relationships on the monarchy. Do you have any idea what you're talking about? Do you remember when Trump went over there and walked in front of the Queen, and that was a big fucking deal that you're not supposed to do that? And the fucking moron, you want to talk about narcissism, had no idea of like etiquette and what precedent was set hundreds upon thousands of years ago with the monarchy. Dude, they're very, very stuck in their old ways. You cannot try to insert your fucking Western bullshit into whatever the fuck you're talking about in regards to these two. With Meghan and Willie, they backed out. So what's the what?
Relationship. Well, actually, I'm lying. We do know how the relationship
Oh, I'm glad to hear you've admitted that.
between men and women work. And Kate's going to be just as much the boss to William as Megan is to Harry. Okay. Now, part of Kate here getting William was to what? Show off her body. He asked Kate out after that fashion show. This is not a mistake. You know what? You know, the one where Kate walked down the runway in a totally sheer dress. So she was selling her sex, right? Yeah, well, apparently William was impressed. Yeah, she's a good looking woman. Duh. And to her
Duh. Damn
friends named
prostitute
Fergus,
selling her
of course.
sex.
Well, Fergus, Kate's hot. Right. Ran by that quickly because it's not important, right? William appeared particularly smitten with Kate at the fashion show. Yeah, she's a knockout. That's right.
But it's not important. It's not important.
Right. He doesn't know anything about this woman, right? She's good looking, right?
First impression.
This is how men select women. He actually told her she was a knockout that night, which caused her to blush. Oh, there was definitely chemistry between them. No, there was no chemistry here. He was turned on by her, and she showed off her body. She sold her sex. Because when this was going on, it's basically saying, I'm willing to have sex with you, right? So she reeled him in with a sexy outfit. Very typical.
Does it say whether or not she knew he was going to be there? This fucking nobody model. Do you know high status and the monarchy? Like, you talk about things being set up. They literally can just literally handpick whoever they want. Like, especially with your ridiculous North American shallow mentality. They can come over here and just pick the most fucking thirst-hungry, clout-chasing 10 they want.
Now look at this. William and Kate were friends first. So she has no passion for this guy. None. Right?
None.
That's what I want, a passionless marriage.
It doesn't seem like you know what passion is anyway, so I'm pretty sure if somebody were to be stupid enough to marry you, it would be rather passionless.
Right. So how much sex do you think they're having together? Right. Well, Williamson was
I thought that doesn't matter. The amount of sex they're having is just inconsequential.
super into Kate. Yeah, he was turned on. They were just friends for a while, so she wasn't interested in him. She wasn't turned on by him. She wasn't interested in him, right?
Well, friends, she liked talking to him. She liked hanging out with him. Things blossom. You'd be surprised.
And even moved in together as platonic roommates. So he's friend zoned.
They have a child. I think they have two. That's some interesting friends. Some rather interesting benefits.
So this guy, William here, this is how unattractive he is to the opposite sex. Even as a prince, he was friend zoned. But he was so high status, she had to eventually say yes, and then put her face on camera.
She was a model beforehand. Her face was on camera beforehand. She didn't need William to put her face on a camera. Using Cosmopolitan as a source is a choice.
And act supportive. I see all kind of magazines covers with this woman's face on it, and she always looks uncomfortable.
You don't know who his mother is, do you? You really don't know anything about high status women in the United Kingdom. Do you? Your ignorance is shining right now.
She always looks at. She's not different from Meghan. Notice Markle here. Where is she? Where I'll get Markle up here again. Markle hasn't no interest in doing any work for the royal family. She's just there to use it. And you really think Kate is any different? Do you really?
Do you know that Meghan Markle and her manslave, they've backed out of the royal family? She fucked up. I don't know why she would do that. Oh my God.
I mean, take a look at this particular magazine cover. I've seen magazines cover. This smile looks
Magazine's cover? You haven't seen English.
very forced.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't okay a bit of a rag mag? It doesn't appear like it's a... See, why don't you highlight the Mary Claire photo there where it's actually a staged photo, you know, where there's a set and a photographer and the person's prepared to be photographed? That looks like it's a paparazzi photo. Gossip magazines, thank you. Yeah, it's like saying anybody on the Enquirer looks like it's forced. You're a fucking idiot. You're just an absolute moron.
And you know they have ones where she manages to get it right, as you can see. I see countless ones like this where the smile is very forced. She doesn't want to be on camera. She's not interested in being a part of the family other than to use it. Just like Meghan Markle. There's no difference between these women where it counts. Do you understand that?
What counts? Where does it count?
This woman has no passion for this man. He had so much status. She said, sure, why not? And what does he want? He wants to bang this chick. She's a gorgeous woman, right? And I bet there's nothing going on in the bedroom.
Man, how the fuck that baby happened? Holy shit. Does he know about that? Does he know that she's having sex and procreating without him?
Once he says, I do, that was it. She has all the rights in the marriage. He has none, just like everywhere else in the world. So I suspect it's a pretty dead bedroom. And if he's smart, he'll have a mistress or two, right?
Follow the
But in
Prince
any event,
Andrew
this is to
playbook.
point out the horseshit. This idea, like I said, Martin Decoder here, he's trying to paint these two women as different. They're not. They're the same animal. Again, the only difference is that this woman knows how to put on a better face.
But you
for
just said
her
it was
user.
forced.
That's it. Okay, we'll end it here.
2 minutes of a 36-minute video. The contradictory shit that he just lets tumble out of his mouth is just comical. It is so fucking comical. My absolute favorite is the fact that he ats the original creator. It's just fun. Just because William is older, if Harry was older, would he be the next king? Correct? I don't know. They won't even let me in the country to be a tourist. I don't have any knowledge of any of that shit. I recommend adultery. Someone quote that. If William dies, does Kate become queen, or do they get a new king? It right now it's King Charles. Again, I'll try to study up on that a little bit in the future, but I don't know. All I know is I'm not King Charles. Maybe they'll let me in this time because my name is Charles and their king is Charles. I don't know. I don't understand. Their family trees are historically a little branchless.
Hello, everyone. I just recently did a video involving this YouTuber, Louis Rossmann, where he supported Reddit.
For the record, this person fixes computers, has a store in Manhattan, and fixes computers. He got popular for talking about the GameStop stocks, and he's very, very much against, or he argues for the right to work on Macs because Macs are very well, they make them a certain way so that you need specific tools to repair them.
And we pointed out that Reddit is full of feminists, and he started removing all our comments. So I had to allow the idea, at least, that he might be a feminist. We're going to find out. Now, how masculine tropes might harm women's careers and dating life. This is a feminist title. It's blaming men for women's choices, right? So it might just be that Rossmann is desperate to please women, and he's willing to throw other men under the bus. Let's get into this and see what he has to say.
Very successful business owner. Just, I want to make that clear.
How's it going? Hope you're all having a lovely day. So today I wanted to return to a common segment on this channel.
See, what he's got there on his face, that microphone, $800. If you're going to take yourself seriously about your agenda, fucking use the right tools.
Louis Rage Reads the News. I actually do get a physical copy of Bloomberg from time to time here.
And soundproofing on the walls? Gorgeous.
At this office, and I do read it from time to time. There was an article today on relationships, and I found myself rage reading the news, so I thought I would share it with all of you. To be clear, before the...
Rage reading the news? On relationships? Okay. Why would you rage?
Dude, you just said that you fucking hate everything. What are you talking about? You rage about everything. Everything's feminist.
State everything up front. I am not going to be viewing statistics or viewing a bunch of scientific studies to make my point here. This is really going to be anecdotally driven, so if that's something that would disappoint you, I would highly suggest you click X now so that you are not raging at your screen the same way I was raging at this article. Most of my objection with this started at the third paragraph in, so let's get started. And let me know, do you think I have a point, or do you think I'm full of shit? So it says, if your wife makes more than you do, read this. Too many women still have to choose between their professional aspirations and relationship success. It's up to men.
This is untrue. Women can easily date down. Rossmann, just letting you know.
How do you know?
And to defy damaging cultural expectations. There's been a huge shift in the way people date and marry in recent decades. As the stereotype goes, successful men...
Women can date down, but if a classic man has any dignity, he wouldn't let a woman make more than him, right? Kind of goes against your fucking spiel there, buddy.
Used to marry their secretaries. Now, people choose spouses with similar levels of education and earnings. The phenomenon is called assortative mating, but smart, successful women still have to navigate enormous landmines in their romantic relationships with men. Of course, not all...
No, they don't. What? I'm going to translate what you just said, pal. Women have hard time finding men that make more money than they do.
Mm-hmm.
And have more status. That's what she's saying here. That's what navigating means.
all women want to be in relationships or get married.
Man, why doesn't this guy have like a radio show or something just telling everybody what women want?
According to a 2020 Pew survey, just 30
Translations, they want to use a man. Because I've watched some of this video, and Rossman admits how much he's disrespected in the dating scene. So it's what they want is to use a man. They're not interested in the man as a person.
38% of single American
What do they want to use a man for if they're not interested in a man as a person? What?
women
If they're going to date down, what is the purpose for the man?
are looking for dates or a relationship. But if women are seeking romantic relationships and they're uber successful, they often have to choose between career success and romantic success. To change this,
Again, this is a lie. They don't have to choose. What it is they won't date down.
ugly part
But you just said they can.
of our culture, we need to radically rethink our conceptions of masculinity. Part of the problem is that
See, this is a feminist rag. Now, if he doesn't call this out, he's
Bloomberg. Bloomberg is a feminist rag, but okay. That is a reputable magazine.
supports this. What is this woman suggesting? Is she saying to women, you've got to date down? That would be the radical change that would be necessary.
many men
But you just said to start that that's what women do and can do. What the fuck are you? Where are you? Where's your center?
don't want to be in relationships with women who they perceive as smarter than they are.
This is a bold-faced lie. What men know, and Rossman knows himself, is that if a woman is making more money than him, she won't select him. So it's not that men don't want it. They just don't bother going for something they know they can't get.
So women have all the power? If they make less or they make more, the women have all the power?
Pause. See,
I don't know
this
how I
is
feel
the
about
problem.
life anymore.
And this is the part that where like not I don't know if it's people just watching too much television or what. Not every man is Archie Bunker, Homer Simpson, Ralph Cramden or something where it's like, you can't get a job, Alice. One of my best lunch dates that I ever had was with this one woman who was discussing sector math with me. So I don't know how we got into this as a conversation. This is a really long time ago, so I'm going to be butchering some of the stuff in the paraphrasing.
And you guys didn't become a couple, did you?
How is that relevant? He didn't, what?
But I was going over how a Western Digital SSD was running cooler than a Samsung, and she actually took the waiter's little pad and pen and asked if she could borrow it for a second, and she started explaining the difference in the sector math used by that Samsung drive of that era and the Western Digital one and their NANDs and everything, and explaining that the Western Digital did not have to do as much work because of the sector math involved and how it dealt with the sector math or whatever when it was, putting data on it, and how this was more efficient and allowed it to run cooler. I have never been that attracted to a woman in my life. Like, oh my God.
So she was smarter than him, and he was turned on by her not only speaking his language, speaking about something he has interest in, but telling him something he didn't know.
That's true. Like, men would love to have a woman who's interesting to talk to.
As would women.
Right. For you to admit this means you're suggesting that most women aren't interesting to talk to.
That's the summation he got from
Like, what do I do for a living? Like, I take flux and pour it on shit and go, oh, I'm heating it up. Oh, it works now.
Okay, now here's the self-loathing. This is what I'm talking about. Why are you downplaying a very useful skill?
He's having fun. He's entertaining. Something that you just don't fucking care about, and is why you hate women so much, because women, I've titled this very, very correctly. Women like guys who have charisma.
My computer is in trouble. I appreciate what you do more than whatever that woman did,
So why don't you fuck him?
right? She's showing off that she got educated. That doesn't make her smart.
That's literally what it is. That's the definition of educated. You fucking idiot.
This is basic common sense 101.
But it isn't, though. If you were educated, you would know what common sense and basic and 101. Another fucking ignoramus using the 101 phrase. It's not a figure of speech.
Now, let me just finish my recording for YouTube and collect my money. I'm not that smart. I found this incredibly amazing. Now, there were...
What do you mean? You own your own business and you run it. You get plenty of smarts. Matter of fact, you're probably smarter than she is.
How do you know? He just told an anecdote of how she opened his eyes to something that he didn't understand. And he was impressed by it. And he was attracted by it. So, you know one little lunch story about her. Like generalizing.
She might just merely be educated.
Which isn't smart.
were other reasons that we were not able to date or pursue a relationship because there were a number of problems that that person had to solve in their life before they'd be ready for a relationship, and that
You were beneath her, pal. That's why she didn't select you. Okay.
Dr. Phil over here.
Okay.
that's actually not a topic for YouTube in general. Not fit for a relationship, somebody I could be friends with, and a great human being. But
Yeah, you got friend zoned, pal, because you're too low status.
Fucking low status. You're such an idiot.
Okay. So this guy is in delusion land.
Do you know how much it takes to rent anything in New York City? He rents a business in New York City and can afford that microphone, which that little string next to his cheek is a better setup than what the fuck you're running right now, because you're using your like onboard computer microphone and your computer speakers to record video. You don't know what you're talking about, like, at all.
that was attractive. I'd be lying if I didn't say that that was insanely attractive. It was one of the most attracted I remember being to somebody in the middle.
Just because she's women who need them. Just because she's educated doesn't mean she's intelligent. Now let me talk to this brick wall and tell it how it's scum for being feminine.
Of a lunch date.
So if you find it attractive as a man, you know that other men do as well. So it's men are not the problems, are they? Men are not the ones. It's not masculine tropes that are stopping women from dating men, are they?
Do you know what taste is? We kind of touched on it earlier about a woman's hair color. Some people don't eat meat. Some people are, their favorite thing to eat is chicken. Some people's favorite thing to eat is steak. It's taste. It's a preference. Same thing goes for dating.
Ever. Just the fact that you knew all this. This woman was really, really smart.
Did you mean that's a very expensive microphone? It's very expensive.
I would say, one of those 160 or 180 plus IQ people that's just somewhat detached from the rest of the world because their brain works on such a different level than everybody else.
Yeah, I would like to see somebody bait and switch the charisma crusher here on lesbians. Just like have it be dating advice and then just fucking just be two women. Like he would fucking control alt delete the feminist, but who's the demon in this relation?
she detached from the rest of the world, or she just wasn't interested in you and looked detached?
Dude, it's personal stuff. She wasn't prepared, he said. What the fuck?
like hardware engineer, software engineer, all this other stuff. That was hot. I'll be honest. That was hot. Like
Which is his taste, not hot to everybody.
I found my brain interpreted that the same way that many other dudes interpret just seeing a thirst trap on Instagram or something.
Wow, what an incredible analogy for differences of taste. I can't wait. I can't wait for the retort.
And there are a lot of men that I know that are like that. Like, I don't mind being around people that are smarter than me. I kind of prefer it. I mean, my employees, most.
There was no proof that that woman was smarter than you.
You're a fucking idiot. You're just an absolute idiot. Regardless of whether or not she's smarter than him, he's saying he prefers to be around people that are smarter than him. You cannot tell him what his opinion is. That's his opinion. There's no objectivity to his opinion.
She just had a higher earning job.
Them are smarter than me. I kind of enjoy intelligence in somebody that I'm dating. And if they're smarter than me to the point that they can actually teach me things or point out things I'm doing that are stupid, then I'm all for it. And there's really only one person I know in my life that wouldn't be for that or that would be threatened by that. It's one of the, he's from Eastern Europe, and he has kind of like this very, very old schoolish mentality when it comes to a lot of things like this in relationships. But other
So you only know one guy who's like that. Okay. So again, why'd you make this title then?
Dude, come to New York. I beg of you, come to New York and watch how rapidly you'd be fucking just eaten alive by the progressivism, the anti-old school man. They just don't exist here.
How masculine trope. So there's only one guy. So again, men aren't to blame, are they?
that one person, I really don't know anybody that's like, you know what, you seem smarter than me, I'm not dating you. I don't see that happening. What I do see.
I do. I see guys seeing a woman who's financially above them and they just give up because
money doesn't have to do with any intelligence. That doesn't mean shit. What's her name? Belle Delphine, smart as a brick. Managed to take a bath, or not. She managed to sell jars of water to fucking morons for over $100. I wouldn't call her intelligent, just fucking capitalist. Capitalizing on something that they recognize their worth. When she talks, it's just
they know nothing's going to happen. Nothing happened between you and that lady, did it? Right, Rossman? Right.
But you don't know if they fucked. But what if he decided that things weren't going to work out?
And it wasn't you who cut it out. She friend zoned you.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
So men have the perfect right not to waste their time.
I'm actually selling jars of farts. Stiffy.
Happening is when I do meet women that are considerably smarter than me, they show limited to no interest in me, which is understandable because they're that much smarter than me. Why
is that understandable? What are you talking about? I thought they loved you for you. I thought women loved men for themselves. Right?
But I thought women go for status. And if he's beneath them, wait, I want to know where the center is.
And when you're smarter than the women, do you toss them aside or you still date them and still want them around? Of course you do. So why is it understandable? Man, this guy's filled with self-loathing.
No, he has a sense of humor.
would you be into a dude that does nothing all day but pour flux on motherboards and heat it up? Like, I'm not blaming you, but it's just interesting. Now they did.
Why? What's wrong with doing the job that you do?
What's wrong with putting bathwater in jars and selling it? What?
Your channel is all about jobs. Most jobs are boring.
His channel is about tech.
And that woman you talked to, her job was probably boring as well.
But he was into her.
Did link to a study where they said that they found that when a man thinks a woman is smarter than he is, he becomes less interested in her. And a lot of this study, when you read a good portion of it, it's
Well, he's less interested in her in so much as he knows he can't get her.
That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. That's complete fucking bullshit. You're like, dude, wake up. It's 2023. What the fuck is wrong with you?
So he doesn't waste his time.
You know what? Maybe he didn't bring his McLaren to the date. That's all you need. You know, our previous course with dating Professor Crusher here, all you need is a McLaren, and you know, the women will just slide over to you on their own damp trail. So there's your first mistake.
like they're going over marriage rates declining when a woman earns more money. That, you know, a couple is less willing to match if her income exceeds his. But when you read a lot of the language that's used in this study, not the man, the couple. They don't say they're stating it as
it's not the couple either, pal. It's the woman. She's the one who decides whether she wants the man in her life or not. This is entirely 100% on the women. This is women's choices.
I hate to break this to you, dude. Most of my relationships, I've made a decision that I wanted to take things further. I've only learned recently that that's called demisexual. You know, people can be friends before something happens. There's somebody that, I was attracted to Rachel Maddow because of her intelligence. I don't have a shot in hell with her, but I think it's quite attractive how intelligent she is. I guess in that instance, she would be the one to decide, but, you know, that was at a different period of my life.
This is basic hypergamy.
if it's a mutual decision. They're not saying like this man is ruining the relationship as a result of it. It does seem a bit like it's a mutual thing. And again,
No, it isn't mutual.
How do you know? What is your experience? If Crusher believes that the woman is the one who decides there will be a relationship or not, doesn't that make Crusher a feminine? Don't. His brain will fucking implode.
It's the women are making the choice. If it's what you consider mutual for the man is the man realizing he doesn't have a chance. But that doesn't mean the man would go for it. If you admitted you found that woman hot, right? So if she said she was interested in you, you'd go for it. It's not mutual.
Did you miss the part where he said that she was going through some stuff where she wasn't ready for a relationship? People have feelings. As somebody who was married once before, I had something that I was going through and I wasn't ready for a relationship. And because of that, I eventually separated from my wife. Life happens. You have no idea what the variables are here. You're just going on fucking TikTok manosphere anecdotes, and you're an absolute ignoramus.
again, when it comes to money, this is another one that I
Call Crusher's brain the Titan.
find interesting. You know, I have never in my life been in a relationship with somebody that made more than 30 to 40% of my salary. Like 30 to 40% max.
Yeah, because these women won't come near you when they make more than you. Right.
Even
What are you talking about?
when I was making $400 to $600 a month, the same held true. It didn't matter whether I was making $400 to $600 a month, making $40,000 a year, making over $100,000 a year, or when I destroyed my company and I went back to making $400 to $600 a month.
Yeah, and it's always the same. That's right. Women always choose men who make more than them. That's right.
But you open this by saying women can choose to date down. That directly goes against what you open this video with. Directly. It's contradictory. If you were educated, you would know what a contradiction is. 101.
Over 10 years ago, and then went back up. And wherever I was on my journey, it's very interesting how this has worked out, and it's been very, very consistent. Now,
Yeah, thank you for admitting it's very consistent. Women's dating choices and mate selection choices are very consistent. That's right, Lois.
Taste. People's tastes progress. You really... When you get through puberty, I'm dying to know what I don't know if he's going to make it through puberty. He's probably going to fucking shoot up a fucking Forever 21 or something. I don't know.
And it's all very interesting. Women choosing men for money is so interesting.
In a video game, of course. GTA. They have Forever 21 in that game.
Now, I don't believe that's because I'm purposely seeking out people that make less money. It could.
Of course you're not, dumbass. They're the one who are seeking out men who make more money.
Is that one of the things on the dating apps? You tell people how much you make? How would a woman know how much you make on a blind date or just meeting you on the street or something? How do women have that information? Is the feminist propaganda machine that strong that thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, we know everything about every man and what they're worth?
You're taking what you can get.
Be, but I don't believe that's the case. Because I really don't have a problem with somebody making more money than me. Most of the bad decisions that I've made over the past 12 or 13 years have been based on a fear of financial insecurity. I need to do this thing to make money now because I may not in the future. What if this happens? What if that happens?
Yeah, and women don't lack that. They almost never worry about their finances and their financial future.
Direct experience says otherwise. You should experience like these people instead of talk about them, because there are women that are concerned about money. You fucking clown.
Because these women will be taken care of by society.
How? Kathleen Kennedy?
If they fall down, and they know they can always get a male partner.
How?
If I was going out with somebody that made more money than me, then that would go away. Like literally, again, to be clear, I'm not trying to say that I would expect my spouse or my partner to pay my way through life. Not at all. I'm a very independent person.
Well, why not? Women do it all the time. What's a housewife but someone who expects their partner to pay for everything?
Dude, that is fucking 1950s mentality. Because, all right, here we go. Because men destroyed the worth of the home family unit. The housewife just is not a normal thing anymore. Which is why there's thirst traps and things like that on Instagram, TikTok, shit. All these people that are just... Sure, there are shallow people that You're like cherry picking these far ends of the society and judging based on the most popular things that fit in your little echo chamber. But if it were the 50s, what 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 choice, what power would a woman have back then? And if you're a woman of color back then, choose whatever the fuck you want, I'm assuming, right? Right?
Pursuing things. I like working. I like finding new things to do to add value to the world. But if, Susan Wojcicki hit the button on my channel that she hit on Eli's channel to nerf his down to, 500 views a video, at the same time that my store collapsed and crumbled or whatever because of a bunch of inspectors from New York State coming in or something, if my life just completely became a giant crater, I would at least know that I could fall back on the fact that my spouse was going to have my back.
Well, then you are a sucker.
You're an idiot. You don't know what human emotion is. You genuinely have no idea what emotion, feeling, empathy. You have no idea what any of that is. You have no idea.
Because the divorce rate shoots up when a man falls down. Women discard their men when they become unemployed in a permanent way.
Is there a temporary unemployment?
So you were very naive and delusional about how women work.
Says the guy with no movie experience that judges movies based on his preconceived notion, his prejudice.
And I really have absolutely no problem dating somebody that makes more than me. Even somebody that just makes as much as me. But it's very interesting because over the past 13 or so years, because I think, before I was 20 years old, I don't think most of my dating life was even remotely serious. I don't know what the hell I was looking for. But like for the past 13 or 14
Who is this man that keeps falling and fucking up the economy?
years, I've never gone out with somebody regularly that
Why would you have to be serious when you're only in your teens?
made more than 30 to 40% of my income.
What?
And again, when I look at that group of people that are making more, I'm kind of invisible. Again, like, if you're talking about women that make 2 to 5 or 10 times my salary, I'm going to make a radical statement here. I don't think they're looking for a dude that puts flux on motherboards and heats it.
So I thanks for admitting it. So why are you talking about how masculine tropes might harm women's careers? And
I think they're looking for something else. I think,
they're looking for a man who makes more money than them. That's the other thing.
That's a masculine trope. Again, going back to the 50s, women stayed home, didn't work at all, and men were the primary breadwinners. And that is a masculine trope. It's changing, and it's something that you're ever so vocal about, that progress or feminist agenda. And, for these tropes to fall, the two genders have to be treated as equal and not, one gender thinking of finances and shallow things. And he is saying that it's a masculine trope. It's trad wives on TikTok.
That's not me. And again, I have no problem with that whatsoever. That's,
You have no problem with women's hypergamy? And
again with this word, what the fuck? I've never heard this word before in my life. And suddenly, I've heard it twice in a week. I forgot what it means. Hypergamy. The action of marrying or forming a sexual relationship with a person of superior sociological or educational background. So hypergamy is masculine tropes.
and partnering with men they don't love? I do. This guy really knows his place.
Do you?
Feel free to go for whoever
How much do you make?
you want in life, and I hope that you get it. I'm not mad. It's just, but there's always this
You're not mad, then why did you talk about raging out at the first?
kind of implication that it's like the guy is the reason. You know, he doesn't want to go out with somebody because he's intimidated by a woman that's smarter, has more money. No, I'm happy. It's just something tells me that I'm not what they would be looking for. But interesting stuff.
So the only thing you've mentioned was your income. So they're not interested. Okay. Thank you for admitting that.
I'll have a
Due to masculine tropes.
link down below if you want to read it. It says, women who are usually successful in their careers have said they think it hurts their romantic prospects. As Maureen Dowd wrote in her book, Are Men Necessary When Sexes Collide, the day one of her friends...
Are men necessary? That really says that I love the opposite sex, doesn't it?
won the Pulitzer, the woman called her, quote, in tears, saying that as a result, she'd never get a date. Federal Judge Frederick...
These women, by the way, Rossman, will get a date anytime they want. They're just unwilling to date down. That's it.
He said that his business failed. What is he dating down to? A homeless person?
Block wrote in his book that Sonia Sotomayor considered turning down her nomination to the Supreme Court because she knew it would hurt her dating life. I thought that was more about some of her recent decisions in the past 2 months, but that's something totally separate. To state the obvious, successful...
Yeah, it would hurt her dating life because she'd make more than most men, and she's not going to date guys who make less money than her.
I wonder if Kathleen Kennedy dates someone who makes less money than her.
That's how it hurt it. This woman wanted...
Well, no, we know that your ears are hearing a completely different tune than what the actual sound is. That is evident.
Date a man, it wouldn't hurt it at all if she was willing to date down.
Men don't tend to have this problem. A woman is also less likely to marry a man if she makes more money than he does.
Exactly, Rossman. So what makes you think that if you were married to a woman and you both have careers and your career went under, that you wouldn't be tossed aside? What makes you think that? What makes you think this woman would have your back?
He's saying, dude, just keep reading the title. How masculine tropes might harm women's careers and dating life. If he loses his job and they were to get separated by your shallow standards, she's going to have a hard time finding someone due to the tropes of dating up, even though she can choose to date down. But she won't want to do that because she was just with someone that was not making as much as them. I'm fuck, what the fuck?
Finally, a little bit of acknowledgement. A large-scale analysis of census data by Marian Bertrand and Amir Kamenenka of University of Chicago and Jessica Pan of the National University of Singapore found that in places where women are more likely to out-earn men, there are fewer marriages. Yes, because maybe women don't want to go out with people that make less than them. There was this... I haven't had a lot of experiences like this. I do remember one lunch date like 7 years ago. There was this really cute entrepreneur that came into the store. She kind of lingered for like a half hour or 45 minutes after the repair was done. I asked if she wanted to go to lunch when I closed, and we did, and she was excited. We had a...
Lunch when you closed? What the fuck time you close?
It was interesting walking.
Yeah, you were paying for the date. You were bribing her. That's why she said yes.
That's why she lingered, because she wanted to be bribed.
That's not the same as her getting into a relationship with you. She just got a free lunch, so she went for it. Yep.
The way there. When we actually sat down to talk, I kind of felt like I was her pet. I don't know how else to explain this. I really don't. Like I've.
Yeah, women don't respect men.
All of them.
They don't care about our humanity. and she knows you make less than her, so she doesn't respect you. That's the only criteria she goes by.
How does she know that? Why would she linger then? Was she just fucking playing with her food? What are you talking about?
The status of the man. That's right.
I've heard the concept of, a man being intimidated by a woman that makes more or that is successful. That really didn't seem, I wouldn't say intimidated is the word to use. I felt like she saw me the way I see BlackBerry or Mr. Clinton. Like when I see Mr. Clinton, I'm like, hello, Mr. Clinton, you're so
I think Clinton is his cat.
cute. Good boy. And then I pet him. Like,
Yeah, your feeling was that I'm being disrespected, and you'd be right. Exactly.
But he made the decision to. I thought the women make all the decisions. He made a decision to.
but I'm not Mr. Clinton, I'm not BlackBerry. I'm not a cat. I'm a man. I'm an equal or partner or whatever. And
But she doesn't see you as an equal. That's why she spoke down to you.
She didn't speak down to him. He felt like he was being treated as a pet, and so he stopped dating her. He chose to not be a non-equal in that relationship. You're just, you don't really pay attention, do you?
I don't know what other people's experiences are like with that. I haven't had a lot of experiences to go out with people that make, multiple times more than I have.
Dude, I know you're talking about anecdotal, but there's also the greater world that you can observe. And your anecdotal experiences, all you have to do is ask other guys.
Like Crusher here. He's got all the info, man. Like, dude, he knows exactly everything. He knows that he doesn't even have to see a movie to know what the message is.
And look around. Matter of fact, I believe you know exactly that this is the status quo for women.
Do you own a mirror?
But the very few times I have, I've always kind of felt like a pet. Like, oh, aren't you cute, Lewis? And it's just something that's not, I don't know.
It's not inducive through romance, is it? When you're being disrespected. That's right.
Really genuinely hope that when.
So how do you think women from, say, the 50s, 60s felt just being housewives? And the trope of, banging a milkman. They didn't feel right just being the husband's pet. Like you're just completely explaining everything that you stand against. And you should understand why things are changing. But you don't. It's really bizarre.
I've gone out with women that made less than me, that I didn't make them feel that way. I hope
you don't, genius. You don't. You never make men want women. They adore women. You adore women. You've admitted to that.
Why does Musk always lie?
Earlier in this video.
hope I didn't. I really do. I have a
He was attracted. What?
decent enough standing with some of the exes that I have, and we've talked after the relationship about things that worked, things that didn't work.
Some of the exes? Okay. Exactly. So you had a long career of getting dumped. Right.
How do you know that? How do you know that? Like, what does that have to do with the price of apples?
And that was never one of them. I've gone out with people that were still going through school, people that were working like the crappy end of a job, or an internship that was long before they get to the real part of the job, or the promotion, or I'm misusing the words there, but you get the idea. Like, and I, just because I made more money than them, it wasn't like, oh, you're so cute, you little failure. I never really kind of talked to them like that.
Duh. Men want to be with women. Women don't care to be with men. I mean, it's not brain surgery.
Which, ironically, they make a lot of money. What if a woman's a brain surgeon? Then what the fuck does she do? Sounds like he cares more about companionship than social status. That's really weird. It's a really weird thing to just admit in front of a camera like that.
Men respect women. And women don't respect men. That's what it is.
Yeah, because all I've heard from you is just absolute respect. Just absolute respect. What was the phrase? Subhuman? That's respect.
I didn't condescend them based on it. I just figured you're in a different place in your life journey right now than I am, and more power to you. I mean, at the end of the day, you have a, quote, real job, and I have a, I don't know, a business that at any given point in time, if Apple wanted to just get rid of, they could just liquid-proof their products, and then I'm back to...
Wow. Wow, what's self-loathing? Dude, you own your own business, and that's not having a real job? What?
He realizes that, you know, things can happen. It's like the divorce rate you brought up before. Why would people get married if they know that the divorce rate's so high? You keep doing things. You keep yourself aware of the possibilities, but what the fuck what?
Wow, your dating experiences have really damaged your self-esteem.
What the fuck is your self-esteem? Let's hear about your dating history.
Because anytime someone owns their own business, people see them as a success. So all of a sudden you don't see yourself as a success? Know why you don't? Because if you don't get the girl, you see yourself as a loser. So it doesn't matter what you do or what you achieve.
What? He's talking about his business going under. If a company decides to change their format, it makes him obsolete in his job. It doesn't have anything to do with fucking dating. Once you pass a certain age in life, it's very hard to just relearn things, to just start from scratch. It's why all these people in this fucking Rust Belt are just crying and complaining about making sure the mines stay open and that we still use fossil fuels and shit, because that's all they do. They're in their fucking 40s, 50s, and 60s. They got no money and they're working in a dying field. So they're voting for fucking idiots that'll tell them what they want to hear. You know, women.
If your achievements don't achieve the woman, you see yourself as a loser.
Working at Model Sporting Goods. I never really looked down on them for it, but I had this feeling that I was being looked down upon, and it was very clear and evident at the time.
Yeah, he's like one step above a keyboard warrior, Dice. Sitting in front of a shitty built-in mic in a dark room complaining about other people's existence without showing his face. Yeah. That guy's microphone is worth more than Crusher's here's setup. It's hysterical. And Crusher knows everything about everything.
And it wasn't something that I imagine is conducive to being in a relationship with somebody. I can't be in a relationship with somebody that talks to me as if I'm a pet.
Yeah, she was getting rid of you, buddy. She was making sure you did.
Do you not understand what English is? Because he said he couldn't.
You knew that you weren't for her. You didn't make enough money. Nothing else about you mattered.
Well, he could have stuck around, but he didn't. He chose not to. He didn't want to be in that situation. He elected to leave.
Your personhood does not matter.
If a woman who is in a
That's
position
respect.
to out her husband does get married, she'll likely jump through hoops to avoid making him feel emasculated, according to the study. And she's less likely to work at all. If she does work, she's more likely to earn less than she could. And if she does earn more than her husband, she's likely to try to make up for it by doing even more housework. She's also likely to pretend she earns less than she really does. A paper released by the Census Bureau in 2018 found that when women make more money than their husbands, they often underreport their income to census surveyors. Okay, that's an interesting one. But see, this whole thing, she's likely...
Maybe they're just getting out of taxes. Maybe they just don't want to pay their taxes. Do you ever think of that, Rossman?
The census isn't the IRS. The fuck they can't. What do they have? Bank accounts in the Cayman Islands? What?
To try to make up for it by doing even more housework. This is actually an argument that I have had in the past within my relationships, which is like if I work my ass off and I have a problem with workaholism and not having fun, and you work your ass off and you have a problem with not having fun, honestly, just stop. Let's just stop. I mean, if we have enough money together to be able to hire a maid.
Why are you begging?
Begging?
Like, none of this matters. This whole video of yours is you admitting that women only shack up with men who make more money off them. The man is there for her to leech off of.
See, you continue to just ignore the title of the video. These are masculine tropes that you are singing as gospel.
So why are you begging women to change their ways when you...
But he's not begging women. He's delivering an opinion that he personally feels like if you're not having fun, if you're not happy, and you have enough money, why do the thing? I agree with him 1,000,000%.
No, they're not going to.
You're like totally hearing...
Rossman, this sounds like I'm talking to a child.
But you're talking to a video, so he's not like hearing you when you talk. Just like you don't hear me when I talk. I mean, this is it's quite an analogy. It's a decent metaphor here, because it seems like no matter what people would say to you, it would just be like talking to a computer screen anyway, because you have your opinion and there's nothing that will alter that.
Like, give or
Notice all these guys who come off as smart convert to children when it comes to relationships with women.
Women want to date children?
$200 to clean up the apartment so that we could go out and have fun. And I remember I've said this, like, you're a girlfriend. You're not a maid. I don't see you as a maid. I don't want you to be a maid. I want to pay.
Well, she's obviously telling you she doesn't want to work for a living.
Obviously. Well, then why is she cleaning the house then? What the fuck what?
Because maid work is easy.
But why is she doing it then?
That's what it is. She wants you to know that she's going to quit her job and leech off you and do the easy housework. That's what's going on here, Rossman.
No, quite the contrary. Do you listen?
So that we could have a maid for at least just for this month, or just to treat ourselves, so that we could go out and enjoy ourselves.
Oh, then her plan is complete.
And that's happened. It's like the last 2 or 3 relationships that I've been in, which is, and I don't know if it's maybe I came off as passive aggressive or something, or maybe they thought I'm saying this as a way to say I have to get him. And I had this conversation with one of them at the end. I said, do you think when I say I'm going to get a maid that's like I have to get a maid because my girlfriend can't clean for shit? Because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I would like to hire a maid for this week so that we could spend the time that we would otherwise spend doing this cleaning stuff actually going out and enjoying ourselves, because
She doesn't want to enjoy herself with you. That's not her idea of enjoyment.
Her idea of enjoyment is cleaning.
That's your idea of enjoyment. Her idea of enjoyment is going out with a girlfriend. So she doesn't...
But I thought women's idea of social status and dating someone that has a high financial social status is what they're clearly going for. But now she wants to go out with her friends when she has the option of not cleaning the house.
She's going to quit her job, live off you, become the so-called maid,
But he's offering that to not be the case.
and most of her time is going to be spending doing what she likes. And I'll be hanging around with people she actually respects and likes, and that's her girlfriends.
Who are you talking about? What? Like he's talking about like an actual situation. Like you're what?
Spent 17 through 32 or 17 through 28 working my ass off all the time, not making time for my personal life, and I'm going to make up for that by using some of the money that I made during that time to hire somebody to clean this area so that we can enjoy ourselves. But despite, or perhaps because of all this, if a woman is the breadwinner of the household, she and her husband are likelier to be unhappy, experience relationship strife, or get divorced.
She's unhappy, and therefore she makes him unhappy. That's how it works.
According to the census
Why?
data analysis. When women experience other kinds of career success, it can also jeopardize their relationships. One study found that women who won Academy Awards...
No. Don't put it like it's outside of them. It's not going to jeopardize the relationship. When they out-earn their husbands, they want to ditch the relationship. This is 100% their choice.
Most relationships, unless you're fucking, I don't know, a trafficker, an Andrew Tate type, both parties have a choice. But somebody with experience would know that.
Rossman.
for Best Actress remains in their relationships for 67% less time afterward than men who won Best Actor awards. Even research out of supposedly egalitarian Sweden found that winning government office doubled a woman's chance of divorce. And again, this doesn't really...
Yeah, exactly. Egalitarian Sweden didn't make a difference there. Doesn't matter what the culture is. It doesn't matter what time of history, what point in history you're in. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. Men and women are all the same. And women...
So what are we talking about then? If we're all the same, what then there's no subhuman anything. We're all the same. You got it. What's all this arguing about? We're all the same.
Select men on the exact same criteria.
This doesn't really discuss whether or not it's the guy saying, you're more successful than me, I'm leaving, versus the woman could also be making the choice of, I'm just not that into you anymore because I've made it to the next level.
Well, jumpins. Are you pretending ignorance about which one it is at this point, Rossman?
This is indeed a possibility, and that does not necessarily have to do with masculinity. Like, if somebody is not interested in me anymore because they've climbed to the next level,
it has nothing to do with masculinity. I mean, this is all on the woman. It's 100% their choices. So it has nothing to do with men whatsoever.
But you just said we're equal. We both think the same things.
Is that a problem with masculinity? Again, if I'm dating somebody and that person who used to be something like, I don't know, let's say they worked at the post office, right? You work at the post office, and that person then goes from just working at the post office to being a postmaster general, or, having...
Okay, this is a real lengthy video. I've got 5 minutes to go. He's just repeating the exact same things.
No,
dude, if you haven't come to terms with hypergamy at this stage in your life, you are a lost cause.
No, you're right. What the fuck am I doing? What am I doing here? This is... If you'd like to educate me on what women really want, the invitation's open. Dude. Crusher. You don't know a fucking thing about cinema. You don't know a thing about film criticism. Please stop talking about what it really is about, because you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You're not educated. You're not smart. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you'd like to correct me, the invitation's opened. I don't want you talking to a video of mine. We can have a discussion. I will platform you, you ignoramus.